You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Daly, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show.
Season 6, Episode 10.
Today, I have an interview with a coach who's doing it for all the right reasons. Because the people who taught him did it for all the right reasons. Yes, I will introduce you to Marty Secord after these messages. Hey, if you're involved in your team's fundraising, get this. I was recently introduced to Success Fund, and I was blown away by what it can do. If you're not already using Success Fund to manage your fundraising, you'll really want to check this out. SuccessFund.com. That's Success, F-U-N-D.com. It's not a specific fundraiser, no. Now, Success Fund is a platform with free tools that makes it easy to run whatever fundraiser you're already planning. Sponsorships, donations, camps, clinics, whatever it is. Success Fund makes it 10 times easier. Plus, schools use it to accept Venmo, which is otherwise not an option. Because so many thousands of fundraisers have been through their system, these guys know what works and what doesn't. And they just put out a free high school football fundraising guide. Yeah, you can go and download the guide for free at successfund.com/football. It takes 2 seconds to grab it. Again, you want to be sure to check these guys out. But at the very least, go grab this free football fundraising guide at successfund.com/football.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Power Plus Mouth Guard. What is that? Well, it's a mouth guard that helps you perform better and also increases your strength, your balance, your stamina, reduces the G-forces which are found in concussions. And the way it does that is it aligns your jaw properly. So this mouthpiece not only protects you, but it's going to help you breathe better. And that's really what it comes down to. It puts your airways in a better alignment, and so that helps you breathe better. That helps you have better balance, helps you have better stamina, the more oxygen getting to your brain, the more oxygen getting to your muscles, and that's where this mouth guard can help you. So you can check them out online. Just go to powerplusmouthguard.com. All you have to do is hit / and shop, and they'll show you all the mouthpieces they have. But check them out and check out the website. Dr. Michael Hutchinson is the one who has designed this new technology, and I really do think it is very forward-thinking in helping reduce concussions, in helping you be more alert late in the game when you're going to be tired, your muscles are tired, lack of oxygen is starting to affect you. This mouth guard will help you in getting more oxygen to you. So check them out, powerplusmouthguard.com.
All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Marty Secord to the show. Coach, how are things going today?
Boy, things are going well. It's a beautiful day, and man, I'm about to go to a track meet here after a while and be out in the sun and be around a bunch of coaches. So that makes me happy.
I love it. And I tell everybody I don't really work. I get to talk to coaches all the time.
Yeah, that's a great thing. It really is. And that now that I'm out of coaching, in one sense, I'm back in it in another sense. So I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
Let's go back to the beginning. Where and when, how old were you when you discovered the game of football?
Man, I tell you what, I was really the smartest thing my dad ever did. He bought about a 70-yard lot beside our house in Longview, Texas. About 7 quarterbacks at our high school played on that lot, and man, I fell in love with football. And man, the other quarterbacks that were out there playing, those guys were my heroes because they were older. And my high school coach, Dan Graham, just had a profound impact on me, along with some of my junior high coaches. I just really didn't have a bad coach, what I would term as a bad coach along the way. Those guys really impacted me, and they were all strong Christian men, and they were good football coaches, and they were in it for the right reasons. And so, man, I knew seriously in about the 5th grade what I wanted to do with my life in terms of being a coach, because I thought they were the neatest men walking on the face of the earth,
I agree. Tell me about your playing career. How long did that last? What did you play?
Yeah, I played quarterback in high school, and I punted the football, and I played a little defense every now and then. But I went to Kilgore Junior College my freshman year, and then I transferred to Austin College in Sherman. My father-in-law had actually recruited me, and a guy named Jim Norman, who was the head coach at Big Sandy High School, and then Jim went on to coach at Austin College, and so he continued to recruit me. And so I went to Sherman and just had the privilege of playing with some great guys and for some great coaches, and had an opportunity to play on our national championship team in 1981, and that was a thrill to be with those guys and just be a part of doing something special and seeing a bunch of people come together. And from that group came a lot of coaches and successful people that have been turned out to be doctors and lawyers and husbands and fathers, and man, we stay in touch with one another. We've had reunions, and so that was a great time in my life for sure.
Excellent. And then when did your coaching career start, and how?
Well, I was actually doing an internship at Lake Highlands High School, a paid internship, and then had the opportunity to go to Athens, Texas. There was about 3 guys that were on that staff that I had played college football with, and the head coach was an Austin College graduate. So I was from East Texas. It seemed like a good fit, and so went to Athens, Texas in the early 80s for a year, and then left there after 1 year, came to Sherman High School, and worked there for two legends of the game. I felt like in G.A. Moore. I went there with G.A. Moore, and then John Outlaw came in. That was in Lufkin.
Wow.
Worked for those 2 guys, learned a ton from them, and then it was on to Abilene Cooper for my first stint there as an assistant. Went there with Randy Allen. That was Randy's hometown and high school, and had a chance to be with Randy and learn from him, and we got the program going. And I lived that Friday Night Lights deal, going into Rattler Stadium on a Friday night with 15,000 people in there, and just being a part of that and experiencing that. And then started in college football, went to McMurray University, and then on to Louisiana College as the head football coach. I was actually the defensive coordinator at McMurray, and then went on to LC, where I recruited Tristan Abram, who you've had on your podcast before, and got to know his family and coached there, and went back to Abilene to be the head coach at Abilene Cooper, and then on to Wakeland High School, where I had the last 16 years were at Frisco Wakeland, which was a great experience. I got to coach my son there, and we had some great teams, and were able to build a really solid program, my coaches and myself. And so, man, I've been blessed. That's all I can say. I've been in some great programs and around some great men and learned from each one of them.
Nice. And speaking of Coach Abram, he tells a story in his interview where you had later tried to recruit him, I think, to Wakeland, and for a couple consecutive seasons, and you finally told him, he said, I just need 1 more year here, and then I'll come. And he said, or you said, hey, this is the last time I'm going to ask you. And then sure enough, when he was ready, he said, you told him, nope, I'm not, it's gone. So tell that story from your angle.
Yeah, from my angle, I was after Tristan just like I was when he was, in high school, and I was trying to recruit him, and I had some really good coaches on the hook, I would say, trying to reel them in and get them in our program. And Tristan's just a incredible a young man of character and a great football coach, and comes from a great family. And so, yeah, I had tried really hard, and I said, man, it's just, this may not be here the next time, it comes around, because, we've got some guys that want to be here. And he knew that I wanted him here, but it just wasn't in the cards. But it really hasn't damaged our relationship at all over the years. We've stayed in touch. And, man, I went to see one of his games this fall when he played Anna, because I live up in the Van Alstyne area now, but had a chance to go see his team play. And it's a thrill for me nowadays to go see the guys that, I was able to coach, and now they're head coaches, and being, continuing to be a part of their lives in that way. So I guess that's my angle on it, but it just didn't work out. The timing wasn't right,
Right. Well, if you could expound on that aspect of it, you've got people that you've coached and you've worked with that have gone on, grown up, had families, had careers. Talk about those relationships and that have developed from this.
Well, the first thing about that is it makes you feel a little older, when you look back and you see those guys and the success that they've had now, but it's why you coach, I mean, I think God put me in this profession to be able to be around guys like Tristan Averin and others. I mean, many others that I just had a chance to rub shoulders with in my coaching career. And now to see them, raising their families and doing that the right way and balancing coaching and teaching and all that comes with it in today's world, it's a blessing for me, just to be able to walk up to them after the game and, talk to them about their team and, their situation, and then sometimes field a phone call when they're frustrated or, trying to figure out what to do, that's a thrill for me, because I just, I look at that now as my ministry, that's what I get to do. And, like I say, I love hanging out with coaches and being with them and, spending time and hearing about what's going on with them. And and what I do now with Coaches Outreach, I travel the state and I see, coaches in different programs and how they do things, and, spend time hearing about their concerns about the profession and kids and parents. And, sometimes I end up on the dry erase board with them talking scheme, I mean, it just depends on the situation that I'm in, but, I'm just thankful that I, can continue to be a part of it like that. But you just, just like I'm going to one of my former players' weddings that I coached at McMurray this coming weekend, and, you just, those are things that just, those relational pieces are what mean the most to you. You remember the losses, the tough losses, and you kind of remember the great wins. I mean, you do remember the great wins, but the losses, because you put so much effort into them. But this young man and I that I'm going to his wedding, we went through a lot together, and he helped us turn our program around at McMurray. And, you just remember that price that was paid by those guys, and you appreciate them and you love them, and they become your sons.
Right on. And you mentioned coaches like G.A. Moore and John Outlaw and some of the others. Can you pull out some specifics that you learned from one or two of those guys?
When all things are equal between coaches and players and situations, what is the big difference in a winning program and a losing program? Well, I tell you, I think a big factor is the information you have available as a coach. And our sponsor, Optimum Grading, can do so much to help you have that information. They provide a comprehensive, fully customizable web application designed from a coach's perspective to analyze the players based on what the coach is teaching. By default, players are evaluated from their alignment, assignment, technique, effort, and production result. And through reports, a coach can understand where the player is exceeding and where he is struggling. But as I talked with the founder, what I discovered was what makes this system different than any other tracking system is that it is so customizable. You can decide what's important to you, and you only have to track those factors that you find important. This powerful platform integrates play data with the coach's input on every single play and ultimately allows the coach to run detailed reports to uncover how the players are performing overall and in situational football. It's really good stuff. Check it out, OptimumGrading.com. I tell you, this is a tool that will separate winners from losers. Can you pull out some specifics that you learned from one or two of those guys?
Absolutely. When I think of Coach Moore, G.A. Moore, one of the winningest coaches in the history of the state, just a legend, he and John and Randy Allen, of course. Randy may be the all-time winningest coach before it's over because he's still coaching. But, with GA, I just learned a lot about just the intensity of the game and the level that you have to play at, and getting kids ready and motivated. And so I think I learned that from him specifically, just how to get a group ready for a game and to be organized. And then with John Outlaw, kind of the same thing. But John was so good with the kid that came from a difficult circumstance and helping them understand, the buy-in that it takes and, bringing them from one place to another and getting them ready. And man, he had a knack of just dealing with kids, and how to deal with kids and what was important and what was not in dealing with kids. And so I learned that from him. And then Randy Allen, man, Randy is an unbelievable offensive mind and just has such a great knack in the moment of calling the right play and his preparation of the opponent and, breaking things down and going with what you believe in and executing it and practicing it. Randy Allen could he ran a great practice, from point A to point B. And that's what I really learned from him, is just that organizational skill of how to accomplish what you wanted to in a practice, to move you towards being ready for a game. And so, it was a lot of things that I took from him in that regard. And then Randy was great with just gimmicks with kids and program and parents and, just how to get people excited about your program. So I guess those are specific things, that I took from those guys that I was able to use, that helped me along the way.
Nice. And one of the things I've heard from coaches these days is that the new young coaches that come on, they think they're going to walk into a 6A head coaching job and not have to pay some dues. Talk about the hard work that goes into earning that big seat.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, for me, as I look back on it, doing things like marking fields, mowing grass, moving water pipe, however you want to state it, are things that with young coaches that were coming into our program had never done, and again, you have to balance all that out. You can't hold it over their heads because they don't know what they don't know. And so you have to, I think in today's coaching world, you have to try to teach them those things, and you set that example. And so I tried, it was not above me to do laundry. I mowed our fields at Wakeland for about 8 years and not because I wanted them to see, because I knew it was the right thing to do. And I'd done it my whole coaching career. And so I tried to, model those things for them. And then I tried to talk to them along the way about the fact that, these things they're just not given to you. You have to earn them, and you have to have a sense of humility about you, and because you're right, everybody wants to start on top. They don't want to pay any dues, and that's just kind of the world we're living in these days. But I think that's the other thing I learned from those guys I worked with is that, you have to be willing to model that for these guys. And those men I named right there along with my college coaches, they model that. My college coach, Coach Churchman at Austin College, he put out a lot of laundry and did a lot of things that, most people wouldn't do as a college football coach, but I always appreciated that and I learned a lot from it. And guys, I think of guys like Marty Criswell. Marty was one of my mentors that was up in Denison, and we were rival schools, but I just admired the way he and his staff went about things. So, man, I've been so blessed to be around great people and who model those things for me, and I think that's what those are the things that I took from them that made a difference, in my career.
Excellent. And speaking of the younger coaches, the ones that have worked with you and under you, 10 years from now, what do you hope if somebody walks up to them and say, tell me about Coach Marty Secord, what do you hope comes to their mind first about you?
Oh, man, that is an interesting question. As I think about it, I would hope that my legacy would be, that I did talk the talk and I did walk the walk. And when I say that, I hope I'm talking about my faith, my Christianity in coaching, my beliefs, that I was in it because God called me in it, and they were able to see that in me, and that I cared, that I would take time to care about the things that mattered, their families, their children. I mean, I tried to get to know my coaches, not just football, but all coaches at the school I was at, and spend time, getting to know them. And I just, I pray that my legacy will be one that they'll think of me that I was a believer and that I stood for, my beliefs in the Lord and my purpose, here on this earth. So, man, if any of them say that, then that'll be a blessing, maybe I had an impact because of that,
Amen. So now I don't want to stereotype California, but there's a lot of Californians moving in, and they have a different thinking about the value of high school football. How would you make the case of why this sport is so important in the way Texas does it?
Well, I think more than anything, it's just our lifeline. In the state of Texas, and you think about any other state, the state you just named, and I have nothing against California. I have a couple of people that live beside me in my neighborhood in California, and they moved out of there for, various reasons. But I think the biggest difference is, in the state of Texas, you have to be a certified teacher. You have to be able to be in the classroom and coach on the field. You're a full-time employee. You're not an adjunct guy or part-time guy coming in. And so there's a huge commitment, that's made when you're here, and I think it makes a lot of people mad sometimes in other states at times, because I don't know that they have to go that deep with just to be able to be a coach. And there's a lot of youth league coaches out there. There's a lot of third party coaches out there, a lot of trainers out there, and some of them are good. Don't get me wrong, and some of them are not. And I'm just going to say it. And and as a parent, you have to be very careful about who you put your kids with. I went through this with my own son, who ended up playing at Florida State, and we went through this entire roller coaster ride of recruiting and the whole deal. And you just have to be careful. But I think it's just important in Texas because just like getting on that bus and riding out to Odessa from Abilene, and you pull into Ratliff Stadium. There's Winnebagos all the way around the stadium for a home game, like a mini SEC game. It must be important if that's happening, or if you go to any high school in East Texas or Central Texas and go to a game, it's important, and communities buy into it. There's more people that watch high school football in the state of Texas than there is pro football, and you and I both know it because it's just, it is the lifeline, and so, people can say what they want. It's important here. I'm thankful it's important here. It's still important here. Everybody can't wait to get their copy of Texas football and start reading it about the teams. And each community just takes so much pride. These places where I go, facilities and just inner city pride in what they're doing is huge, And so I'm thankful that I got to be a part of a state that is important too.
Right on. So talk to me about coaches outreach. That's what I understand you're involved with now.
Yeah, it is. I started in June, and I'll tell you what, coaches outreach, we do two things basically. We provide Bible studies for coaching staffs that want to do it, and we provide marriage retreats. We have a writer that does the studies, so 12-week study in the fall, 12-week in the spring. We ask them to get a lay leader, to come in and facilitate the study. We help them with that, and it's a great program. I did it for 18 years with my staff, and man, I really saw a lot of changes in the personal lives of coaches who did the Bible studies and that went to the marriage retreats. And I saw marriages saved. I learned some things about my coaches that I don't think I would have known had we not been in there together. And it kind of just helped me let my guard down. They let their guard down, and it was a very confidential, group. And we've got about 750 of them going on now throughout the state and in other states as well. We're really growing. And so I just felt called to be a part of that. Just, last year was my last year in coaching was kind of a crazy year, and just had a lot of things within me and my own family going on, and felt like God was leading me to something else. And these folks at Coaches Outreach had approached me about 5 years ago, and I just wasn't ready to get out of coaching, but it just seemed like this time that the timing was right and good. And so we made the jump, and here we are. But it's been a blessing and to be a part of, and I'm thankful that I'm peddling a product that is undefeated, and that's God's word. And when a Bible study breaks out on a coaching staff, it's a miracle. With as busy as coaches are, for something like this to happen on a staff is pretty incredible. But it's a neat thing to be a part of and to see when it happens.
I love it. We'll put some information in the show notes. Coach Secord, gosh, I want to thank you so much for sharing some of your story. It's the same story with every coach, but it's different, and I love telling them.
Well, I appreciate the time today. I really do. And, man, I think coaches are called, man, just like preachers are called. And that's a statement I know Randy Allen has made, but the longer I've lived it and been a part of it, I believe it. It's a calling, and there's just nothing more important that can influence more kids for eternity than a coach. And so, man, I'm going to stand up for coaches any chance I get.
I love that.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Hey, coaches, before I let you go, I want to talk to you about something I came across called Team Nation. Now, these guys are not advertisers on the show. I just want to share this information with you because it's so cool. It's an app that you use in your program, and this app instantly turns your playbook into a mobile game for your players. It's crazy. I think it's a real game changer in how you can not only teach your team the playbook, but exactly who knows it and who doesn't and how well they know it. And no, it's not a ton of work where you've got to put in all your plays. It syncs up with Huddle. So you can quiz them on what they're seeing, what they're looking, watching a video. It's stuff kids like to do, right? They spend all their times on their phone. It's got to be the fastest way to teach the playbook. This uses flashcards. This uses quizzes and games to gamify the whole thing. And the thing I thought was the coolest was it's got a leaderboard. So you get them competing against each other so you can see instantly who knows what. And they can see it, and they can work to improve and to move up that leaderboard. It's pretty cool stuff. It's Team Nation. Like I said, I'm going to try to be working with them, try to get some more information about how you can get involved with these guys. I really can't stress enough how exciting this seems to be, how much of a game changer it looks like it is. Like I said, I'll put a link in the show notes here just so you can do it. Yes, I would love for them to come advertise with me. So if you're listening, Team Nation, please come advertise. But I think right now it's more important to get this out to you coaches because it's a great tool. Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game.